Hello and welcome to our comprehensive news coverage of the General Conference session highlights. I'm Maureen Were, and in today's special report, we will guide you through a wide range of major developments, including essential updates, insightful interviews, and impactful decisions that are shaping the future of our church around the world. This session has been filled with powerful and inspiring moments, from election of new leaders and heartfelt personal testimonies to remarkable life stories and historic decisions that reflect a global mission. Stay with us as we explore the stories, voices, and the choices that have made this General Conference session truly unforgettable. Leadership stories often remind us of how God shapes individuals for His purpose. Today, we take a closer look at the life of the East Central Africa Division President and how his leadership journey has influenced many. Dorcas Akelo brings us the inspiring biography of Pastor Blesius Ruguri, a man who has served with faith, integrity, and unwavering dedication.
Dr. Blesius Ruguri is a respected and seasoned leader in the Global Seventh-day Adventist Church, currently serving as the president of the East Central African Division, ECD. His leadership has been marked by a deep commitment to mission, education, and spiritual growth across the region. Let us look at his early life and education. While specific details about Dr. Ruguri's early life are limited, his strong and educational foundation has equipped him for decades of impactful leadership within the church. His academic and theological training have shaped both his administrative and pastoral approaches. Dr. Ruguri was first elected to this position in the year 2010. Under his leadership, the division has seen significant growth in membership, institutional development, and spiritual outreach. In his role as Chancellor, Dr. Ruguri oversees the strategic and academic direction of AUCA, which is the Adventist University of Central Africa, including its landmark initiative, the Adventist School of Medicine of East Central Africa, ASOME. His support has been instrumental in advancing the university's vision and regional impact. Stewardship Ministry. Before becoming division president, Dr. Ruguri served in the stewardship leadership at both union and division levels, where he championed faithful Christian living and financial transparency in ministry. Some of the notable events and contributions of Dr. Ruguri include spiritual leadership in public spaces. Dr. Ruguri offered a prayer of dedication to former Kenyan Chief Justice David Maraga, exemplifying the church's engagement with national leadership in spiritual matters. He also presided over the first white coat ceremony at ASOME, marking a historic moment that emphasized the importance of compassion, integrity, and service in the medical field. As president of ECD, Dr. Ruguri has worked closely with union and division leaders to strengthen mission focus, support institutional growth, and deepen the church's spiritual impact in the region. Dr. Blesius Ruguri continues to be a voice of faith, integrity, and vision within the Seventh-day Adventist Church, committed to preparing God's people for the soon return of Jesus Christ.
From leadership transition to spiritual milestone, this General Conference session has been more than a series of meetings. It has been a moment of global reflection, renewed mission, and shared vision for the future. We are joined by Pastor Nicodemus Onyango, who will walk us through some of the key updates made to the church manual, including changes related to membership transfer, leadership criteria based on tithe paying. These updates were carefully reviewed, voted on, and are expected to significantly impact how the church functions and provide leadership at every level, from local congregation to the global body. Pastor Nicodemus, thank you for joining us, and we are pleased to have you on board to shed the light on a few things on the updates on the church manual.
Thank you very much, Maureen.
My first question to you, one of the notable updates involves the process of membership transfer. Could you explain what has changed in this area and why it is important for both members and local leadership to understand this?
Thank you very much, Maureen. There are several changes that has occurred in the church manual. One of the things that was being introduced is membership transfer. Actually, the point is, the emphasis is on that if a member has moved from one point to another point, he is expected within 6 months to organize for his transfer, so that the activities, the church activities that this person wishes to do in that church, he can now be free to do, including tithing and offering in that church where he has moved from to. Another thing that has brought a lot of discussion is that there is something we call membership review. The membership review is supposed to be done annually. This was not there before. So the annual membership review, before I make any statement, it should be redemptive.
Yeah.
Because most of us can make use of this to disfellowship members. But we are saying that this review is necessary just as a checkup to know the strength of members that a pastor is having in every church, so that the church can be active and be composed with active members.
All right. And after this, where can the members of the church or the local church leaders find these updates?
Yeah, there is a review of church manual, and after every general conference session, there is always printing of new church manual. So this new church manual will be out, and members are able to refer to the new church manual in the changes that has occurred within this period of the new session.
All right. And aside from that, tithe paying was also discussed as a requirement for holding church office. Can you at least clarify what decisions were made on this matter?
This is very interesting.
Yeah.
Maureen, if there is something that I enjoyed yesterday, is about the tithing. One thing, even before I go to the holding office, the one thing that came out is that somebody was trying to relate tithing with salvation. The Adventist Church believes that our salvation is by grace, not by works. Some of us were arguing there is that when we attach tithe with salvation, are we talking about salvation by works?
Yes.
Let me explain this. Tithing is like maybe keeping the commandments of God. Keeping the commandment of God does not come before salvation.
Yes.
You are not keeping the commandment so that you be saved. But the church members keeps the commandment because they are saved.
Yeah.
For example, we want to say that in every house, there are some regulations, there are some norms that guide the house. For example, Maureen, in your house, you may say that in my house, people wakes up at 6. And when we wake up at 6, we come together and pray.
Yes.
So any person that is joining your house will be expected also to wake up at 6 so that they can pray. So he is not waking up at 6 so that he join your house. But he's waking up at 6 because he's already in
my house.
In the house. So we are giving tithe to God as a response to being children of God. Not that we want to become children of God. But if God requires his children to give tithe to the church, it is because they are already children. not because they want to be born to be children. So the born again Christians, the children Christians that have been saved, are the ones that give tithe because they are already been saved, not because they want to get saved. So another thing that came out, this thing I was a district pastor and we were trying to practice it, but now I'm glad that it's coming out in the church manual, that when you want to be a leader, then anyone who wants to be a leader should also be
a tither.
He shouldn't be a tither. He should also be a child of God that responds to the commands of God. So I think it is not something that is unique. By the way, it is very hard for you to be a church elder or a church leader who does not tithe, because one of the requirements, one of the things that you will require to do as a church leader, as a church elder, is to promote tithe.
Yes. You can't promote what you don't give.
And promote something that to you it is not making sense.
Yes.
So when we talk of church leaders having given tithe as one of the requirements of choosing a leader, I don't see a problem, because it's something that will flow in the life of a true Christian.
Even as a Christian, we are always being told that you can't preach what you don't practice.
And again, tithing should be a lifestyle.
Yes.
It is not it should be lifestyle of Christians. So if you are a Christian and you are a child of God, tithing should not be an issue. So I love this emphasis that please let us not choose leaders who are not tithing, because if you do that, that will they promote.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Pastor, for shedding such a great light on those things, because maybe yesterday or the day before yesterday, somebody did not get a grasp of what was taking place. And by shedding the light, they get to understand where the church is going, and what we are expected to do in terms of tithing and in terms of membership transfer. Thank you so much, Pastor, and may God bless you for
Thank you very much, Maureen.
Thank you. Now we turn our focus to the Inter-European Division, a region known for its cultural richness, deep spiritual heritage, and unwavering commitment to mission.
When John Andrews first arrived in Switzerland in 1874, he had plans and dreams to bring the new message of hope to the old continent. 150 years later, the plans and dreams still exist, alive in the minds and hearts of all of us in the Inter-European Division. From its pioneering spirit, Adventism in Europe has become a resilient tapestry of hope. With over 200,000 members and 2,500 churches, the Inter-European Division thrives amid cultural diversity and secularism, united by the motto, "I will go reach people," and the vision to reach up, reach in, reach out, and reach beyond. Europe's spiritual indifference, migratory shifts, and cultural diversity pose questions. Yet, Adventist institutions, particularly health centers like Clinique La Linière and Waldfriede Hospital, respond with holistic care, embodying preventive medicine and spiritual healing. Youth Energy shines as a beacon of hope. Programs like 1 Year for Jesus in Germany and Amicus Romania foster service, spirituality, and leadership, revitalizing the Church's mission in an aging continent. Campari 2023 had a record participation under the common will of following Jesus. Innovation marks missionary outreach, suicide prevention hotlines, sign language training, vibrant prison ministries, and impactful church planting even in the most secular parts of the territory. The refugee crisis saw EUD Adventists fully mobilized. From shelters in Belgium to psychosocial support in France, ADRA Europe coordinated compassionate, integrated aid. Adventist schools across the Inter-European Division have become community anchors, combining academic excellence with spiritual formation, forging strong ties with local churches, and promoting values-based education.
If Ollis Lagers clears, third and final attempt. It's this to put herself in the shake-up for a gold.
At the 2024 Paris Olympics, Adventists were present through chaplaincy, health expos, and public outreach. Simultaneously, the church confronted evolving societal values by affirming biblical teachings with love while championing religious liberty. The Inter-European Division addresses societal shifts and challenges through dialogue, reaffirming biblical principles with openness, care, and love. In 2024, a conference on biblical human sexuality took place in Bulgaria. In 2023, an international conference about freedom of expression gathered leaders and academics in Portugal. Adventist media saw historic growth. Hope TV Germany, Speranța TV Romania, Novo Tempo Portugal broke new ground, reflecting the surge of digital evangelism and cross-border media collaboration through GAIN Europe. Throughout Europe, media centers serve the church, contacting new people and connecting them with communities of hope. In a complex postmodern world, the Adventist mission in Europe presses forward with unity and hope, striving to be light and salt, illustrating God's plan of restoration in every corner of this diverse continent.
Beyond the elections and policy updates, the session was marked by moments of inspiration and renewed focus on spiritual growth and mission strategy. Joining us now to share more about these key highlights and the broader implication for the church is David Batiz. David, thank you so much for joining us. We are glad to have you on board. Allow me to ask you a few questions just to shed light on the highlights and the implications that it have on the broader church. There was a concern raised about the General Conference session always being hosted in America. Why has this been so historically? Do you believe it is possible to host them elsewhere in the future?
Okay, so the General Conference session has been held outside of America 3 times. In the mid-70s, 75, it was in Vienna. 95, it was in Utrecht, Holland, Netherlands. In 2000, it was in Toronto. And since that time in Toronto, it has not been held outside of the United States. There's many reasons for that. One is the translation challenges that they had maybe a little bit in Toronto because Canada is a bilingual country and we have English and French. Same problem existed in Utrecht and Vienna. Another issue is the accommodation. Does the city that the proposal General Conference session will be held in have the ability to accommodate all the delegates and the visitors that would come to the city? And in addition to that, transportation capability to transport everyone back and forth daily.
So do you want to tell me that all these other countries in the world, they do not have a proper transportation system that would facilitate that?
I think what they are looking for is a country or city that can do all of them. Has transportation, has accommodation, has telecommunications, fiber optic cable. So they want everything. They don't want just one element. It's not based on just one, but all of those working together to make a successful General Conference session. The possibility of war or civil unrest, protest, anything like that would maybe alter people's perspective and willingness to go to that place for the General Conference session. Okay, so there is a number of things that come into play, and the site is usually selected 8 years before the General Conference session takes place. For example, the next General Conference session has been selected already, and that decision was made in 2017.
Oh, okay.
Or not 2022, and it's in Indianapolis. Okay, for 2030. 2035 is still up in the air. That decision will be made shortly, in probably 2 years or so.
And the other part of the question was, do you think there is a future possibility that it can be held elsewhere?
I think you might be really wanting me to tell you if it could be held in Nairobi, and I'm not sure of the answer to that question. That's a question beyond my pay grade. I'm not able to answer that question at this time.
All right.
But yeah, that's a very interesting idea. I
To
think it's possible, but I'm sure the executive committee,
Yes.
ADCOM, and the others that make the selection, they may have reasons to or to not select
all right.
someplace else.
Okay, my second question or second area is we have had discussions about elders preparing for baptism during the session. Could you elaborate on that development? What was it all about?
So I think there are a number of people who felt that the large districts with more than 5 churches should give more flexibility to allow the elders, especially the head elder, to baptize members within their church. And there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of discussion about that.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel that baptism should be reserved for the
Ordained ministers.
ordained ministers. And if he is not going to do it, he needs to at least be there in the congregation when the baptism is taking place. There are many reasons for such a desire or for such an intention,
Yes.
and why the church insists that the ordained minister be present, or at least the pastor. If he is not ordained, but
Yes.
he is still the pastor of the church, he can baptize. But because of large districts, like we have one brother here with us who is doing the sign language.
Yes.
Our dear brother, he is pastor of a church with 20 churches,
Yes.
a district with 20 churches. He will not be present every single time
Sabbath,
someone
yeah.
wants to be baptized. And the question will be, will that person still want to be baptized after 2 months if they have to wait so long to be baptized?
But don't you think when the elders are authorized to baptize, then there will be no value for ordination?
I don't think ordination is the issue. I think ordination is really a setting aside of this man for gospel ministry. It is a blessing placed upon him. The hands of the senior pastors are on him,
And anointing.
and the anointing, and the hand of the Lord is upon him. he has been selected for a special mission of gospel ministry. So it's not just a simple thing of, now that he can baptize, it's a setting aside of this person. He is not a regular person.
Yes.
He is God's man. And for this area, for this field, and he represents and he leads out God's ministry.
Away from the question on elders baptizing, there has been a discussion of lack of women in top leadership roles. And aside from that, there was a delegate on the floor who referred to the elections as the old boys club.
Okay.
What is your response to this concern?
Well, we have a lot of women that have been trained and educated in our seminaries. And I think the church has made some efforts in certain areas of the world to have more women involved in leadership. Now, in some parts of the world, that may not be considered acceptable to have women in leadership. Whereas in North America, where I'm from, and maybe in Europe or the South Asian, like the Australia, New Zealand, that might be something that could work. So it just depends on the area of the world. The other thing about the Old Boys Club, I really think that the selection or the nomination of committee members as articulated by Elder Paul Douglas, the treasurer, the executive treasurer of our church,
Yes.
he says this is an answer to prayer. So when we pray, we ask God to give us wisdom in selecting people to serve in the church. And the nominating committee works together, and the E.G. White says that the General Conference Committee in session is the voice of God. So I think we need to just accept that decision.
So it was not an old boys club per se, but the voice of God, which spoke through the nominating committee.
Right.
Thank
even
you.
though it might seem like recycling or using the person again and again and again, that may be God's intention.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and for that insightful information.
I want to share, can I share a couple things?
We can share that tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, because our time is limited to the time that we've had. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.
May God bless you.
Thank you very much.
Dear viewer, you've had a few issues were listed at the General Conference session on women and the church having maybe recycled or re-elected leaders. And you've heard from our brother David that might have been the voice of God. And I don't want to use that might have been, but that was the voice of God. Now we turn our attention to East Asia, where mission work continues to grow, both innovation and impact. Here is a special report from the Chinese Union Mission highlighting their outreach efforts, spiritual growth, and the challenges they have overcoming in ministry.
China, a country with a rich and ancient history spanning almost 5,000 years, has undergone numerous changes in dynasties and ethnic integration. Abraham LaRue, a self-supporting 65-year-old missionary, arrived in Hong Kong from the United States in 1888. He was the first individual to bring the Advent message to China. In 1902, the first missionary family sent by the General Conference arrived in Hong Kong. In 1905, E.H. Wilbur and his wife opened an Adventist boys' school in Guangzhou. In the same year, Ida Thompson opened the Bethel Girls' School. From that time on, the Adventist Church began to establish mission schools in China. In 1907, Guo Ziying became the first ordained Chinese minister. At that time, there were 3 Adventist churches with 95 members in China. Nearly 30 years later, in 1936, China Division had 6 unions, 256 churches, 21 secondary schools, 3 publishing houses, and 17 hospitals and clinics. Since the 1980s, China entered a new era of economic openness. As the country developed infrastructures that brought in huge improvements for its citizens, the number of Adventist churches also grew. Hospitals, seminaries, and publishing houses established earlier in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan continue to thrive. In 1999, the Chinese Union Mission was established in Hong Kong. Over the past 25 years, we have focused on leadership development, spiritual revival, discipleship, theological education, and the creation of online platforms for evangelistic materials, theological books, and other resources. Through breakthroughs and innovations, we serve as a bridge between the Chinese region and the global church. Effective leadership is crucial for the development of churches. Church leaders are not merely administrators. They must also possess the wisdom to guide and teach. In the past, devoted Adventists gathered and worshipped in small churches. However, as membership grew, it became increasingly challenging to maintain the same model. Our goal is to share biblical leadership principles with Chinese members and churches. We collaborated with the General Conference and Andrews University to provide church leadership training sessions focusing on 4 key areas: leading oneself, leading with others, leading within organizations, and leading through multiplication. The outcome of this leadership development process is remarkable as church leaders humble themselves, listen to one another, support cross-church collaboration, exchange ideas, and empower the younger generation to take on important roles. As a result, the institutions and organizations under the Chinese Union Mission also experienced significant growth and development. Adventist Health Hong Kong focuses on community outreach by offering free medical services and health checkups for underprivileged families. Hong Kong Adventist College established a nursing school, which generated additional income and trained nurses for a hospital. Hong Kong Adventist Academy is dedicated to the mission of bringing students and teachers to Christ. The Hong Kong-Macau Conference launched a high-end assisted living facility to serve the aging population in Hong Kong. To encourage spiritual revival, we regularly host live-stream online sessions, each attracting over 150,000 participants with some videos reaching up to 10 million downloads. In 2024, a significant milestone was achieved with the first Chinese Lay Congress in Malaysia. In 2019, the Chinese Union Mission started sending missionaries. To date, we have dispatched 15 families to more than 10 countries.
Brother John and his wife worked for 5 years to reach the Chinese community in Panama City with little success. However, on Sabbath, February 15, 2025, they experienced a breakthrough when 7 individuals were baptized. What led to this change? The main objective for many Chinese individuals in Panama was to earn sufficient money. John and his wife established a small center of influence, offering visitors free natural health treatments and massage. On the Sabbath, they always prepared a delicious meal. Whenever the opportunity is provided, John and his wife shared about God's love for Chinese people, but nobody joins the church. One day, a woman brought her husband to the center, hoping his health would improve through the natural remedies. Gradually, she realized that John and his wife had come so far for no other reason but to share the love of Jesus. She accepted God's love, but was hesitant about baptism. However, she responded to the call during the recent weekend evangelistic meeting on February 13 to 15. The result became evident after 5 years of dedicated effort. Around 30 people accepted Jesus during the Friday night call, and 7 were baptized the next day. Those who sow with tears will reap with sounds of joy.
The Chinese Union Mission has consistently prioritized theological education. Many church leaders lack formal theological training, resulting in diverse doctrinal interpretations among local congregations. The Chinese Adventist Seminary offers both full-time theological programs and online courses for individuals pursuing advanced studies. Currently, there are 500 students enrolled.
At the age of 10, Brother Fu developed an interest in Bible stories. 2 years later, during the spiritual revival meeting, the speaker inspired him to study theology. After participating in several short-term, non-credit courses, he dreamed of one day sitting in a seminary classroom to receive proper theological training. Chinese Adventist Seminary was an answer to his prayers. Shortly after graduation, he became an overseas missionary. Now, after 5 years of serving in Hungary, a Chinese company has been established. Receiving an Adventist theological education has played a significant role in his outreach and pastoral ministry. Brother Fu is grateful for the seed planted in his heart during his youth and gives glory to God for the opportunity to learn and serve Him.
Disciple-making and training remain cornerstones of church leadership development. In July 2024, at the invitation of the East Central African Division, 22 workers from the Chinese Union Mission embarked on a mission to Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, and 2 other nations. Partnering with local churches, they conducted a homecoming evangelistic series, experiencing cross-cultural evangelism firsthand. Through these efforts, nearly 600 individuals were baptized. This collaboration ignited hope among African believers and rekindled evangelistic zeal and hope within the greater Chinese regions. Following the New Testament early church model, we believe one of the most effective church planting strategies is to support small group ministries. To facilitate this strategy, we launched the One Leading One initiative, encouraging every member to lead at least one person to Christ, transforming passive attendees into active disciples. It is also important for Three Angels messages to reach unentered cities. Faithful members are going into Buddhist areas, Muslim neighborhoods, ethnic minority regions, and traditional Chinese communities, sowing gospel seeds among unreached people groups.
Ben believed in Tibetan Buddhism. After moving to the city in the southeast, he and his wife started attending an Adventist church and were baptized following Bible studies. However, they began to question their faith when their Tibetan friends started rejecting them. Later, they returned to their home in the northeast, where they met 2 Adventist pastors who deepened their understanding of their faith. Gradually, their faith strengthened, and they became disciples of Jesus. They considered becoming church planters to share the gospel with their Tibetan friends. The Lord opened the door for them, and their home became a place of worship. They even shared the Bible with 52 living Buddhas. As the only Adventists among Tibetans, they are committed to guiding others to Christ. Meet Brother Dong, a church planter who prays earnestly before venturing into the new area. Upon arriving in a new city, his team set up a tent with a table and a comfortable chair, inviting people to receive free massage. Dong noticed a man approaching with the crutch and invited him into the tent, offering him a seat in the chair. In silence, Dong prayed to God, "Please heal this man." He then began massaging the man's leg. Once he finished, Dong instructed the man, "Get up and walk." Initially skeptical, the man stood up, and to his amazement, discovered he could walk without a crutch. Overjoyed, he asked, "How did you heal me?" Dong told him that it was God from heaven who had the power to heal. The man was so inspired that he asked Dong and his team to come to his home. He said, "If your God is so powerful, let me call all my family to listen to you." This marked the beginning of a new house church in the city.
In today's interconnected and digitalized world, digital platforms have broken down geographical barriers, serving as links that foster fellowship among believers. We developed sdabible.org as a comprehensive spiritual resource platform for church members. The website features Chinese Bible commentaries, over 180 Ellen G. White writings in Chinese, quarterly Bible study guides, theological books, and faith team programs, making it an invaluable resource for Chinese believers. Additionally, companion iOS and Android apps allow users to access the website's resources on mobile devices, providing an immersive experience for studying the Bible and engaging in spiritual practices. Mobile devices, from knowledge acquisition to faith practice, we seek to provide free resources for our users. As part of our resource sharing initiative, we invite individuals who use our resource to study the Bible with us online. Our goal is to reach people even from our office. Initially, we were uncertain about the level of response we would receive. To our surprise, 9 people signed up in a short period. We plan to introduce them to local churches when they are ready for baptism. After 25 years of continuous growth and service, we have witnessed God's grace through several milestones in our mission journey. Whether it's spiritual revival, leadership development, resource sharing, theological education, or disciple making, the Chinese Union Mission remains committed to serving church members worldwide. Together, we pray that every church and every seeking heart will experience the radiant glory of His coming.
This session reminds us of the power of unity, purpose, and faith as leadership transitions takes place and plans are set in motion. The mission continues to grow, embracing every nation, tribe, and people. Stay connected, stay inspired, and continue to pray for the church and the global mission. I'm Maureen Were, and with God leading the way, the best is yet to come.